Hello to everyone who is watching this on YouTube. I am Jordan Mustang 87, and now it is time for us to move on to what will ultimately be our last playthrough of 2025. And as I said before in my update video, we are now playing Sonic the Hedgehog. First released for the Sega Genesis, also known in Europe as the Sega Mega Drive. This game first came out in June of 1991 in both North America and Europe, published by Sega and developed by Sonic Team. And yes, Sonic Team has pretty much been here since the very beginning. This game in many ways would go on to be a major success, and as a result, it later became the second biggest video game mascot of all time, behind only Mario. And this would also be the first of many games to come for the spiny blue hedgehog that is pretty much as synonymous with video gamers and internet users as Mario effectively is. In other words, you could probably argue the amount of people who have probably heard of Mario also includes the amount of people who have probably heard of Star Wars. Anyway, Sonic 1 became a massive success, and as a result, in the 16-bit era, he also became the main rival of Mario following the huge success from the first game. And of course, many other games would follow, and this game also became popular enough to get a release date in Japan, of course, because, well, Sega, of course, is based in Japan, and after the original release date in June 1991, as I said before, this game came out in Japan only weeks later by late July of the same year. And ultimately, the mainstream success that Sonic has had since then, you can definitely say that he has become one of those mascots that, you know, in a lot of ways is just simply impossible to ignore, without his name being mentioned at least once or twice. I should also mention that Sonic fans are very fickle, although thankfully at least I don't engage with fandoms very often. Okay, anyways, so with enough rambling out the way about this game, let's actually get started with this game. And where I decided, after I noticed my in-game volume was a bit loud, I have decided that I am going to play through this game again. Because I think I have enough experience now to really understand how the game works, and I also know how to beat all the levels as well. So here we go with Green Hill Zone, and where I'm hopeful in saying this time I can manage to get rid of the badniks that immediately want to kill me. Because disposing of them almost immediately is the best way to get through these levels without losing all your rings. And we are going to need rings early on, because we need at least 50 rings if we are to unlock the bonus stages at the end of the first 6 acts, because that is how I plan on collecting the Chaos Emeralds. And we also basically need to get these emeralds, because that's how we can be guaranteed the good ending to this game. And because this game is pretty short, I have no problems in terms of replaying it. need this shield. So you know I'm obviously not going to pass on the... Okay, I am doing terribly right now because I am losing everything I am supposed to have. You would think for someone who has beaten this game twice, you would think it gets easier. Oh fuck no, it does not get any fucking easier. This is already my third attempt at this. And to be honest, trying to avoid certain obstacles in this game, it's actually really hard to do. I mean, it's definitely harder than it looks. Even to the people who tell you it's easy, I can assure you, from someone who has now beaten this game twice, even though the second time around was because I wanted to make sure the audio was not ruling out my voice. You would think this would be easier. Well, my immediate response to that is, fuck no, this is not easier. It still feels just as hard to get through the second time or third time as it does the first time. I'm not even joking when I say that. And to be honest, I have no intentions on making sure that my rings are gone immediately. And I end the level with an extra life. And I make the ring as well. So starting off with 14,000 to open up the game. And before I continue, I am going to save the game. Because I want to make sure that I secure these Chaos Emeralds. Yeah, do you really want to know why it's just easier for me to save the game? Well, number one is because, well, it puts me in less trouble. And second of all, because it's easier for me to just think about how to approach this. And there we go, that is Chaos Emerald number 1. I forgot to save the game after I finished this, which was why I stumbled in the following level. And I also went too fast to get the entry to the second Chaos Emerald. Because at the end of each level, if you have 50 rings, it's essentially mandatory for you to get the Chaos Emeralds. I think it's up until Starlight Zone, when your opportunities to get all the Chaos Emeralds effectively runs out. And then it's basically after that when you pretty much have no chances left, essentially. I think that's the best way for me to word it. I wonder if there's anything back here. Oh, just a waterfall. You know what? I'll take those rings. Just as long as I don't lose them somehow. Because I would really like to make sure that I hold on to these rings. At least to start with, that is. Okay. Got that. Really got to be careful with this spike area. I also know now to not be too fast for the end of the level. There is a time where it's important to not go too fast. And yes, I do say that appropriately because, well, obviously Sonic's intuition is to go fast. Okay, not missing it this time. And I got 75 rings as a result. If you gain 100 rings, as you've seen before, you can gain an extra life or two. And before we continue, I will save the game again. I am really starting to get annoyed with myself now, because I keep making schoolboy errors that I should not be making, and yet I am still making them anyway. Regardless of how much I really try not to. I did also turn down the audio on my in-game sound as well, because I noticed that with my original recordings they were loud, and I needed to lessen that sound just a little bit. Okay, through to the second room. This is the Emerald room. I'm not going straight for the goal, because if I do, then that means game over. There's no point in me doing that again. Come on. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Damn it. Okay. Got it this time. Kind of like I did before. Except for saying this time, I'm going to save the game before continuing. The continues, by the way, don't really do anything unless you gain an extra life. Figured it was just something I might keep you posted on. I definitely don't want to exit the game. Must be with my, Okay. I'm not falling for that spring. If you think I'm gonna fall for that, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not falling for that spring. That spring is a literal death sentence. No ands, buts, or ifs about it. It's a death sentence. Because you'll literally die from it. Because of those, flying badniks. Well, those dragonfly badniks, I should say. They're effectively Robotnik's slaves, if you're asking. Yeah, Eggman, by the way, was called Dr. Robotnik in the international markets. Naturally, of course, it wasn't just Sonic who had a ton of popularity. Eggman obviously had a ton of popularity as well, but the international markets named him Dr. Robotnik up until they decided to merge the Robotnik and Eggman names by the time Sonic Adventure released in late 1998 to late 1999. And that, I think, just went very wrong. But you know what? We can spin attack our way through the walls, so I don't think it's really too much of an issue. Although that might be an issue. However, I have rings now, so that means I can do this. Now I need to think about where to go next. Okay, I know exactly where to head next. And got the speed shoes. Of course the music is going to speed up because, well, it's Sonic. You honestly would not be expecting yourself to encounter one of those without the music speeding up, would you? I mean, come on. Okay, now this bit, I know how to get it right, and I also know how to get the extra life. Because you can get an extra life from here, as I have just proven. So I'm going to go back on my word and make sure that I use those platforms again, because they'll be important for us to get through to the boss fight almost unscathed. At least I think they will. Anyway, let's keep this one going and make sure that we try to get to the end. If we can. Fuck you. Well, there goes any shot of me getting 6 lives. Did you honestly think I was falling for that? Yeah, nice try, Buster. I know better than that. And I'm only down to 2 rings. But you know what? It's fine. Because I have a shield. And because I can use this to get across here. And got some extra rings to help me out. I think there are spikes under here, so gotta be careful through there. So don't need to do anything. That bit of ground will crumble because there are spikes under there. Okay. Fuck both of you. Okay. Alright. Okay. Boss fight time. And this is where it's gonna get really interesting. As I immediately lose my shield. I really tried to avoid that. Believe me, I did. Okay, I actually get through it with rings this time, unlike before. Most of the bosses in this game actually are not too hard. But either way, that's the end of Green Hill Zone, and compared to the first time around, which took me over an hour to beat this, second time around, it's only taken me 29 minutes. What a difference experience makes. Although it's probably not going to make too much of an experience by the time we get through the Marble Zone, as the game throws a glitch at me right at the end. But anyway. Green Hill Zone is done, and now we will move on to the Marble Zone, coming up next.